सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. I offer my humble pranams at the divine lotus feet of our master Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, the founder of Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence. My humble greetings to the leadership board of Sri Sathya Sai University, and my special greetings to all the students who have joined us from 3 different campuses. The situation right now is gloomy and unstable. World is facing a lot of changes, a lot of unprecedented incidents are happening all over the world. Colleges are being shut down, students are deprived of their education, and youth are misled into all sorts of distraction. In this context, I remember a great poem by His Divine Grace Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, which goes as follows: Astiram Jivanam Loke, Astiram Yavanam Dhanam, Astiram Dhara Putradi, Satyam Kirtim Dvayam Stiram. It's only Satya and only reputation, Kirti, which stays with us for eternal. What is Satya? Satya, that Aham Brahma and Sarvam Brahma, that I am this consciousness, and this same consciousness is pervading all through the world. That is a Satya. And what is the Kirti? What is the reputation? The recognition of this consciousness is that reputation or Kirti. We are very fortunate in these gloomy times that we are constantly engaged ourselves in Shravanam, Mananam, and Nidhi Dhyasanam of the great truths of Vedanta and Sanatana Dharma. As it says in Ashtavakra, Antar Vikalpa Shunyasya Bahir Swachanda Charina. Because of this Shravanam, Mananam, and Nidhi Dhyasanam, all our Mala Vikshepa Avarana is getting destroyed, and in the outside we are like free, we are roaming like a free lions of Vedanta. And we are very fortunate today that we have Swami Chidananda ji with us in order to address all our students. It's a great fortune that we are getting every Thursday the Satsanga of Mahapurushas. There's a small introduction of Swami Chidananda ji to all students. Swami Chidananda ji has been a Vedanta teacher and speaker on human values for more than 3 decades. After he served for 5 years as a resident Vedanta teacher in San Jose, California in mid-90s, his work has been mostly in India and USA. Since 2008, he heads FOI, Flame of Who Am I Forum, a non-profit organization that disseminates philosophical and spiritual knowledge with special coverage of Indian ethos. Numerous talks by him are on YouTube at FOI channel. He is the author of 7 books. He is especially known for his presentations on Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads. He hails from Udupi in Karnataka. He has been living in Solan, Himachal Pradesh since 2013. He had begun with a career in electronics engineering with Bachelor of Engineering from BDT College of Engineering in Davangere and MTech from reputed IIT Madras. Between 1986 and 89, he was a faculty at BIT College in the Department of Electronics and Communication. Then he served Chinmaya Mission, the organization of Parama Puja Swami Chinmayananda, for 18 years. And he also served in the foundation of Jiddu Krishnamurti for 10 years. It's a great fortune that all students, all the youth students are getting an opportunity to interact with Swamiji. As it says in Bhagavad Gita, Yadyad Acharati Shreshtaha. We have great opportunity to follow this Shrestha. Over to you, Swamiji. Saira.
Sairam, everyone, with humble prostrations at the feet of Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. I am very glad to get this opportunity to address the students of Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence. We have chosen a theme, Mahavakyas, the ultimate message. In the Vedanta, the ultimate, really speaking, is also the intimate. That supreme truth, which is the ultimate reality, is not far from us. It is our own true nature. Swami Vivekananda, whose birthday we celebrated yesterday, narrated the well-known story of a little baby lion getting mixed with a bunch of sheep, for the baby lion's mother died at the time of delivery, and the little baby was taken along with the sheep by the shepherd to the village, and this baby lion grew up thinking he was also a sheep. It is then that after a while, maybe a year or year and a half, a true lion comes from the forest and is shocked to see a little one of his kind being with sheep eating grass, and the visiting lion right away springs into action. The visiting lion drags this baby lion to a pond and asks him, "Take a look at your face in the water of this pond." And as the lion cub, very afraid really, looks at his own image, he is unable to believe that he doesn't look like sheep. His face is like that of a lion. He was even making sounds like sheep were doing till now. Now, however, with the understanding, I am not a sheep, I am a lion. The baby lion roars like a lion and goes with the visiting lion to the forest. Swami Vivekananda narrated this story at many places in the West, in the East, and said that is what Vedanta, the spiritual wisdom of India, can do to anyone. We have a misconceived notion. We are this personality with its strength and shortcomings. In reality, we are that Atma Tattva, which has no limitations, which is the seat of endless love, which is ever healthy, and so on. So, what is a Mahavakya? In the Upanishads, at 100 places, if not more, there are statements which explicitly, very clearly show the oneness between the truth of the Jivatma. Please hear again, the truth of the Jivatma, not the way Jivatma is perceived generally, but there is a hidden truth about the Jivatma, and the truth of Ishvara or Brahma, not the way it is generally viewed as the ruler of the universe and so on. The truth of the Jiva, the truth of Ishvara are one and the same, and that is called Jiva Brahma Aikya. Therefore, the definition of a Mahavakya is any Vedantic statement, which means any statement in the Upanishads which reveals the identity of Jiva and Brahma, which shows the oneness of what every one of us is and what the supreme truth is a Mahavakya. There are more than 100 of them. However, 4 of them are most well known. From Rig Veda, you take a statement from Aitareya Upanishad, Prajnanam Brahma. Pure consciousness is the ultimate truth. From Yajurveda, from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, you take the statement, Aham Brahma Asmi. I am indeed that pure consciousness, the supreme reality. From Samaveda, from Chandogya Upanishad, you pick up the most famous statement of all, Tattvam Asi. Tattvam Asi. Tat, that, Tvam, you, Asi, are. You are that. What you have been looking for, what you have been searching for, what you have been from the bottom of your heart aspiring to realize. You already are that. Tattvam Asi. Then, last but not the least, in the Mandukya Upanishad of Atharva Veda, there is this statement, Ayam Atma Brahma. The pure consciousness in me itself is Brahma, the truth of this entire universe. Thus, please note, the four Mahavakyas do not talk about a process of becoming. This is where it can be a bit hard for novices in the study of this philosophy. They may imagine, okay, all spirituality is about doing something and practicing something and then becoming something. But the high plateau of Vedanta says it's not about becoming, it's about realizing what you already are. It is about being. However, do not be over enthusiastic and do not imagine you don't have to do anything at all. There is in our mind so much impurity, so much of obstacles, so much of kama krodha, so much of purva vasanas, so much of deep beliefs that we are no good, we are inadequate. In order to reduce the pressure of these long-standing thoughts and emotions, we must do sadhana, we must do japa, we must do prayer, we must do satsanga, we must listen to Vedanta again and again. As the three words are very well known, we must do Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana. Now, a Mahavakya is indeed the zenith of Indian spiritual wisdom. It is the acme of all philosophical thought. The Mahavakyas are the peak of Rishi's discoveries, the Rishi's contemplation. In recent times, science, especially theoretical physics, has discovered a lot of things which, to our great pleasant surprise, seem to be distant echoes of this very wisdom of Vedanta. On one hand, Albert Einstein pointed out that time is relative. Time is not absolute. Time depends upon your position, your status, whether you are stationary or moving at some high speed. Time slows down. What a crazy statement it would look like. Everything is described as slowing down on the axis of time. What do you mean by time itself slows down? Study the physics again, you will find if two people were given a clock, one of them is stationary, another goes on some kind of special spacecraft at a high speed, if not equal to the speed of light, at some speed which is somewhat comparable, even half the speed of light would do. Can you believe? It's not a perceptual error. It's not an illusion for the person going like that. The clock in his hands actually shows less time. While for the man on the earth without moving, let us say several years have passed. For the man who went on that spacecraft, only a few days could have passed. Likewise, Albert Einstein first gave the theory and later, very convincingly, he established this understanding that space is curved. Oh my. We think of a sheet of paper as straight or curved in space. What do you mean by space is curved? That is called the theory of relativity of both space and time, and no wonder the rishis of yore had talked about both kala and desha being a part of Maya. Maya kalpita desha kala kalana vaichitra chitri kritam is a line most of you would have recited while chanting Dakshinamurti Stotra. Maya kalpita desha kala kalana vaichitra chitri kritam. I salute Sri Dakshinamurti, who is like a great magician who brought out this Maya, as parts of which there are these Desha and Kala. Jagan Mithya is the statement which has the same meaning. Brahma Satyam. Many a time, every one of us complains, oh, this world is cruel. There is no justice in this world. Everything is so painful, sorrowful. Wait a minute. Who says this? You say, I say this. Who is this I? What is this I? Have you stopped for 2 minutes and wondered what this I is that experiences suffering, conflict, and so on? The great Sri Ramana Maharshi told visitors, no matter what their question was, find out who has this problem. Nanu yaru, main kaun hu, who am I? An old question, this is very ancient question, but in the last century, Sri Ramana Maharshi highlighted that question. Ask yourself, who am I? Presently, you have the idea, I am this Jivatma, I am this limited individual soul. If you inquire, you will discover that this being a limited entity is a mere mischief of thoughts. Therefore, Adi Shankara, the great commentator, Bhagavan Bhashyakara, on the Upanishads, and also on Brahma Sutra, and also on Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Bhashyakara Adi Shankaracharya says that this I, this aham, upon being inquired into, disappears, and a pure I comes forth to the forefront. The pure I is without any limitations. Who am I? You are to ask. If you simply go on asking, it may become a sort of japa. It is not supposed to be so. You must understand what the question, who am I, means. Therefore, some study, some exposure to the warp and woof of this sadhana process called who am I will empower you to conduct that self-inquiry in a mature manner, leading to the erasure of the limited ego and the discovery of the unlimited pure self. Mahavakyas, once more, there may be many in the Upanishads, but the four most well-known ones Prajnanam Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, and Ayamatma Brahma. These Mahavakyas are the highest plateau statements. In other words, as long as you remain with words, there is nothing more than this. In other words, Mahavakyas are the ultimate in terms of words that can be said. The understanding is beyond words. The understanding, the self-realization is not limited to any words. Long ago, thousands of years ago, the rishis of India discovered that what meets with our eyes is not the truth. There is a story in one of the ancient works. A student asks a guru, please teach me the highest self-knowledge. The teacher says, first tell me, where are you now? The teacher says, very simple. The student answers, sir, it is very simple. I am sitting in front of you in this beautiful cottage, Kutira. The teacher asks, oh, tell me, where is this Kutira, the cottage? The teacher says, the student says, sir, that is also simple. This cottage is in this forest. Okay, where is this forest? The forest is in this world. Where is this world? The student says, this is getting a bit hard now. Okay, the world is in space, Akasha. All right, where is Akasha? The student answers, well, the Akasha is in my mind. Akasha is in my mind. The teacher with a smile asks, where is your mind? The student says, my mind is in me. My mind is in me. Now there is an interesting situation. It's like a snake biting its own tail with its mouth. The student began saying, I am in the cottage. Cottage is in the forest is in the world is in space, and then says, space is in my mind and mind is in me. So, you are in this cottage, one extreme, and everything is in you, is another extreme. Mahavakyas help us see we are that Sat Chit principle. Sat, pure existence with no names and forms. Chit, pure consciousness with no requirement of having to say what it is conscious of. Object-free, object-independent consciousness and name-free, form-free, shape-free existence. Pure existence, pure consciousness. That is the truth that Mahavakyas convey to us. Now, someone will surely ask, well, these are nice to hear. It makes us feel good. But how under the sun are we to eliminate our present notion of I am the body, I have some health issue, I need to put on some pounds, I need to wear better dress, I need to complete my education and get a good job. Thousands of thoughts arise in the mind of every one of us. But if you notice them scientifically, all those thoughts are continuously describing and defining who you are, and the question arises, are those thoughts real? Are those thoughts valid? It is like some false propaganda that some country may indulge in. There was a time when Russia and China were supposed to give a certain picture of how their countries were running to the whole world, while actually something else was going on in their countries. Russia and China, they were called the bamboo curtains, they were called the iron curtains, and so on. Curtains. Others don't know what is actually happening. But they would, using the media of those days, which was mostly printed media or some radio, they used to give a message to the whole world. Everything is fantastic in our country. That's an analogy I am giving. Like that, our machinery called thoughts. Thoughts are a machinery in constant movement. The machinery called thoughts is relentlessly saying, you need to get that, you need to get this, you need to go there, you need to become this, you have lost here, you have won there. Oh, such noise, such mental chatter. And no wonder what thoughts say comes across as the truth. Therefore, Vedanta says, first purify your mind. First learn to let go of unnecessary desires and fears. Stay with what seems to be necessary. Let there be economy of thoughts. Let there be an improvement in quality of thoughts and reduction in quantity of thoughts. When a fan is rotating very fast, you don't see the blades. Therefore, you might imagine that it is a uniform, round disc. But when fan slows down, you turn the switch off or even bring the speed down. Slowly you will say, aha, this fan has 3 blades, sometimes 4 blades, right? So is the trick played by our mind. When our mind is having a succession of thoughts, like the fan looked like a disc, undivided disc. Here, our mind makes us believe we are this jiva. We are this individual being. We are this lady, we are this man, we are the father of 2 boys or the mother of 3 children, and so on and so forth. All that is play of our mind, which is restless. Bring the mind to a degree of rest, degree of balance. That is called Chitta Shuddhi, purification of the mind. And after this purification, reflect on the Vedanta statements again. You will find something amazing happens. Earlier also you were listening to Vedanta here and there. You are doing Shravana, but there were so many doubts and you did not do anything about it. Now, with the mind made pure, you are able to take every doubt, consult your Acharya, clear those doubts. This clearing of the doubts is what is called manana. Samshaya nivaranam mananam uchyate. Even though now you are so clear about things, old tendencies continue to arise. Just as even after you switch off a fan, it continues to rotate for some time. In your mind, idea of your being limited continue to arise. So we go for a nididhyasana. Try to stay more and more in that higher liberating understanding. Then Shravana, Manana and Nididhyasana together will bring to you that vision. Adi Shankara calls it Samyak Darshana. Samyak Darshana means right seeing. In the right seeing, like we referred to modern science, which gives a new vision of the what the universe is. In modern science, you also have what is called the gut theory, grand unification theory. For in the good old days, they talked about 4 forces in this universe: gravitational force, electromagnetic force, weak interaction force, and strong interaction force. Slowly they discovered that these 4 forces are not watertight compartments. One of them could express as the second, which again could express as the third. Like in the history of science, there was a time when they looked at matter and energy as completely separate. Matter could go from solid to liquid to gaseous and so on, but matter remains matter. And energy could go from heat to light, light to sound, sound to some other, but it remains energy. But then we know that matter and energy are interchangeable. E equals mc squared. Energy, certain amount of energy is equal to certain amount of mass multiplied by the square of the speed of light. This astounding discovery also took place in the domain of science. Grand unification theory is about proving that the gravitational force, the electromagnetic force, the weak interaction force, and the strong interaction force are all 4 expressions of one force, grand unification. Like that, the Vedanta says to us, man or woman, an ant or an elephant, all of them are that one Sat Chit Tattva, truth, expressing in many ways. Brahma eva satyam, sadeva saumya idamagra asit, says Uddalaka in the 6th chapter of Chandogya Upanishad to his son Shvetaketu. Sat, or that pure Brahma, alone was. And then it seems that a plurality has risen. And it's our job to question, has the plurality really emerged, or is it an error in seeing? And this may be a bit hard for some of you to understand. The Vedanta's view is what is perceived and the one who is perceiving are both parts of an error. When that error subsides, the perceived and the perceiver, the seen and the seer, the heard and the hearer, the smell and the smeller, what is touched and the toucher, etc., what is tasted and the taster. So this duality breaks down. Swami Vivekananda was very fond of Upanishad Mantras, like there is one in Brihadaranyaka, where the question is asked, Kaha kam vijaniyat? Kaha kam shrunuyat, kaha kam pashyet. Who will see what? Who will hear what? Who will smell what? Who will know what? What do you mean? What is this? The idea is, as you are awakened to that free consciousness, today your consciousness is chained, it is shackled, deeply touched by Indian wisdom. Presently, there is a writer called Michael Singer in America. He wrote a book a few years ago, and even today it's a bestseller. The book is titled The Untethered Soul. The cover page has a horse. You know, a horse can be tied with a rope. Then we say the horse is tethered. The untethered soul is like a horse that is free of any rope and can fly, go, run anywhere. Now, when you and I become the untethered soul, it's not that we are able to do lots of things for our own pleasure. First of all, this our own loses its meaning because the so-called others and the so-called we become one. So what is the benefit of realizing the pure self? We say the benefit of realizing our true nature is not so much as teaching somebody a lesson, showing to somebody who we are. That is all silly. The benefit of self-realization is, number one, utter fearlessness. You aren't afraid of anything. And number two, you are naturally, spontaneously loving. Every moment you look at yourself as a loving person. Every moment you look at yourself as lovable. Friends, in our life, because of certain worldly confusions, we think many times, I would have been happier if I had a bigger house. I would have been happier if I had a very nice, expensive car. I would have been happier if. So many. But actually, we would be very happy when every moment we perceive, we experience love in our heart. We love and we receive love. To love and to be loved is the greatest privilege of human life. That would be the blessing of self-realization. Now we ask the question, how does a Mahavakya say Brahma and Jiva are one? As we said before, there is an erroneous perception, erroneous seeing. Samyag means rightly. Asamyag means wrongly. There is a wrong seeing. And therefore, to explain this wrong seeing, the Vedanta brings forth the well-known, much talked about analogy. A rope appearing as a snake. Mind you, when you give the example of a rope appearing as a snake, causing fear in you, both the rope and the snake are away from you. You are neither the rope nor the snake. That is a limitation of the analogy. In actuality, there is error in assessing what is around me and in assessing what I am. What I am is part of the error. Whereas in the example of snake upon the rope, your error is there is a rope and you mistake it to be a snake and are nervous. Oh my, there is this snake and it may bite me. I think I should return. I should not go forward on my journey. Both the rope and the snake are outside. But in the matter of the Vedanta, the sense of I am this body, I am a junior clerk and I got to get to this position of senior clerk, if not office manager. I am with such net worth and I must get into 10 times more net worth. So this incessant mental chatter makes us believe we are this or we are that. That is also an error. The hills and rivers, the wondrous creation is all not what meets the eyes. They are something of which the expression is the way they look. A rainbow is beautiful. Even a Vedanta teacher or student would feel tempted to write a poem on the rainbow. With all due respect to the beauty of the rainbow, let it be said, there is no bow over there. You can't go and hold the violet or indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, or red part of the rainbow and bring it home. It is water molecules through which white light gets into, it gets split into 7 colors. And to ensure that all the angles are the same, because the angles at which they break are the same, it is a circle always. Oh, that is physics, that is the intricacies. Even when a pencil placed in a glass of water looks bent, nothing has actually happened to the pencil. These are analogies in the phenomenal world, but the world itself is something different from what meets our eyes. In order to realize what the world really is, and right away with that, to realize what we are, the mind has to be purified and we must reflect on the Mahavakyas. The Mahavakya is a revelation. The Mahavakya is a statement in the Upanishad on the truth. If I tell you this fire is hot, there is no contribution from me in making the fire hot. Whether I say it or not, fire is hot. Whether I say it or somebody else says it, the fire is hot. The fire is hot is a truth. Likewise, Ayam Atma Brahma, Prajnanam Brahma, Tattvamasi, and Aham Brahmasmi are revelations. You reveal whatever is the truth. You don't create anything. You don't produce anything. Therefore, in the Vedantas, to make this whole idea clearer, the famous 10th man's story is narrated. 10 people, pretty foolish, cross a river, and because their master had told them, keep counting. I want all of you to return safe. These 10 foolish people, after going to the other, begin a counting process. In this very well-known story, everybody who counts and tries to find out how many we are, counts the other 9 and leaves himself out. He cries, I am so sorry to tell you we are only 9. Another person says, let me count. He too counts 9, leaving himself out, and says, oh, alas, we are only 9. Every one of them counts the remaining 9 and leaves out himself. Dashamo vinashtaha nadyam mamara dashamaha. The 10th man definitely has died in the river. Nadyam mamara dashamaha. It is then that some passerby comes and helps them. He makes them all stand in a line and asks each of them to say 1, 2, 3, etc. in a loud voice. The first one says loudly, 1, because they are long-time friends, everybody recognizes his voice. The second one loudly says 2. They recognize, the others recognize. This is not the same fellow who said 1. This is some other fellow. And the man who said 3 is again some other. Like that it goes. And now comes the 10th man. He also heard clearly 8, 9. He trembles. He is unable to believe that 9 different voices have said 1, 2, 3 up to 9. And it's my chance now to say 10. So with much trepidation, almost a little fear, he also shouts, 10. Then the passerby says, you see, you had counted a while ago. You counted the 9. You left out yourself. You are the 10th man. That is how Tattvamasi works. And like 9 in the example, we have to negate Annamaya Kosha, the physical body, Pranamaya Kosha, the sheath of vital airs, Manomaya Kosha, the sheath of emotions, and a few other factors. Vijnanamaya Kosha, the sheath of the personality that is made of buddhi, the intellect, and a few other factors. Anandamaya Kosha, the sheath of bliss. All these are to be let go of, and then one realizes who one is. 9 of them who spoke in different voices have to be put aside. And the last man has to realize, I am the one who was being searched for, about whom it was thought I had died. Likewise here, you and I realize, with due respect to this body and mind and intellect and senses and karmendriyas and whatever, with due respect to all of them, we need to realize that the peace, the happiness, the security, the love and the ability to be loved and all these I was searching for. Can I receive love from all directions? I was asking. Now you discover that what is coming towards you really is love only. Can I love all? Now you discover you actually are of the nature of love. You do love everybody if you station, if you anchor yourself in the pure self. Thus, friends, Ahamatma, Ayamatma, Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi and Prajnanam Brahma are very much like the passerby telling the 10th man, you are that Tattvamasi, you are that truth. Thus, it is a matter of coming upon Jnana from Asamyak Darshan. Double check who you are, what you are. Double check what this universe is. Next time you lose 10,000 rupees and you feel sad, Ask yourself, does this 10,000 mean everything? Then the value you gave to those 10,000 rupees reduces. Ask yourself, this I who felt sad at losing 10,000 rupees, is that true? Did the true I lose 10,000 rupees? If you have been a sincere student of the Vedanta, you will get the reply. The true I did not lose anything. The true I did not get anything. The true I is avyaya. The true I really am untouched by loss and gain, praise and insult, success and failure. They do not mean much to me. In this way, not just by memorizing some Vedanta statements, but by understanding. There is a beautiful understanding of how it is said so in the Vedantas. Therefore, friends, once more, offering my humble prostrations to Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba and complimenting all of you for having got this opportunity to study at this wondrous university, Sri Sathya Sai University of Human Excellence. I conclude my words, wishing every one of you all the best in your outer journey and more importantly, in your inner journey towards self-realization. Sai Ram, Sai Ram.
Thank you, Swamiji. Your blessings means a lot for us. And as you said, the greatest advantage of self-realization is to love and being loved and being always blissful and being always happy. Your words, your blessings are of great importance to all of us as we are young students, young boys and girls who are walking on this path. This is what university was found for. This is what university was established for, that hundreds and thousands of men and women should walk in this path of Vedanta. There are a few questions, so I'd like to present it. Sairam Swamiji, when we are in the path of Vedanta, it is very tough. This path seem to be very slippery. There are many obstacles, there are many tribulations, there are many hindrances. As they say in Kathopanishad, Churasya dhara nishita durataya durgastapatam kavayo vadanti. If this path is so tough, why should one, especially youth like us, should follow this path?
Well, even though it is tough, you really have no other solution. It is like you have an ailment and the doctor is 5 miles away. You can't say, well, if the doctor was within half a mile, I would have gone. Because the doctor is 5 miles away, I think I won't go. You are suffering from ailment, fever or headache or stomach pain. Only option you have in the Vedanta is if you find Jnana Marga of Advaita Vedanta very hard, you may go for Bhakti Marga. Or as Bhagavan Sathya Sai Baba guided all of us, engage in service to humanity, serve all, do not hurt anybody, were the sublime teachings of Baba. So, either Jnana or Bhakti or Yoga or Karma or some combination is unavoidable. Otherwise, like the patient suffering from some ailment, you will suffer more and more, it will get worse. In order to find a lasting solution to your worldly suffering, Adhyatma is the solution without an alternative. You have choices. If you don't want much Sanskrit, okay, study this wisdom in your own language. If you don't want to chant or recite, etc., okay, you don't have to chant or recite. But the wisdom, the change in outlook, is something where there is no option. Oh.
There's an interesting sub-question related to the previous question. Yeah. Why should we actually ask this question, who am I? We see millions of people and youth enjoying in the midst of ignorance. Why should I or we ask this question, who am I, and follow, have this samyak darshan which you have mentioned?
So these millions of people who from a distance seem to be having a good time, seem to be doing well, are actually not happy. You sometimes hear of celebrities, very eminent people, those who won a Nobel Prize or an Oscar award or a Filmfare award, or in our own country, Padma Bhushana or Arjuna award, etc. You find something terrible about their life too. Therefore, all that glitters is not gold. So even the rich and the famous have their own troubles. They may not show it in some public appearance, but you go close to them, you will find, ooh, I don't have as many problems as this man or lady has, unless they come upon Adhyatmika Jnana, will be going on the roller coaster ride. Therefore, don't be too fast in judging others. Recognize the common issue and work on it.
That's an amazing answer, Swamiji. Recognizing the common issue and working on it. I come to the third question. What was your motivation to walk on this path? You have stayed so long on this path. How did you practice your nididhyasana?
Well, what motivated me in the first 10 years, ever since I took up this study in 1980 or so, was the inspiring lectures of Swami Chinmayananda. He filled me with happiness, with a great excitement. Later on, I was much drawn to Ramana Maharshi. And then J. Krishnamurti also gave me some fascinating understanding of the problem of ego in us. So I have been fortunate to receive wonderful guidance from many masters, and that has kept me going. And after all these days, if I am doing Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, one of the reasons is I now am a full-time Vedanta teacher. So don't they say teaching is the best way of learning? So today I gave you a lecture, and later on in the evening I would be wondering, oh, did I say that correctly? Oh, I could have said something else in a better way. Oh, I say all this, but am I really anywhere near this realization? In this way, when you are into this work of sharing Vedanta thoughts, that also prompts you to more Shravana, more Manana, more Nididhyasana.
When one decides to walk on this path, he requires a burning desire to know it and the commitment. Yeah.
I didn't hear the second part. One gets a desire, burning desire to.
1 minute. Yeah. Okay. When one decides to walk on this path, he requires a burning desire to know it and commitment to realize it. But how can one gain this? How can one gain mukshatvam in the life?
Not an easy thing, but one can get mumukshutva by being in touch with either directly the great souls, Mahatmas, or indirectly through their books and works. When you watch even for 5 minutes or 10 minutes a video on Bhagavan Sathya Sai Baba or Swami Vivekananda, you will realize, So true. So their examples, their light thrown on issues gives us the necessary mumukshutva. I once asked this question, how do we get, I didn't use the word mumukshutva, I said vairagya. How do we get vairagya? To a yogi in Tiruvannamalai, his name was Yogi Ram Surat Kumar. Now there is a big ashram by his name near Ramanashram. Where he laughed. My question was, how do I get vairagya? He said, it is like asking, how do I get mad? Meet mad people daily, he said. And if you are constantly in company of mad people, you will also lose all your sanity and you will go mad. Then he said, like that, somehow be in touch with people of vairagya. That will increase your vairagya. If you are with people who are talking of a bigger house, a better car, or something else, and so on, then you also will get that idea. I too want to get a big car, and so on. So association with people with mumukshutva is the way to get mumukshutva.
Swamiji, this knowledge of the truth you're constantly preaching to all the people. But sometimes in villages, they don't understand. Or sometimes materialistic people, they don't understand. What is the method to teach them? Because as an objective of university, our goal is to scatter Vedanta in the root and corner of the world, nook and corner of the world. How to achieve this?
Yes, it's a very practical issue. In fact, Bhagavan Sri Krishna himself says in the Gita, Na buddhi bedam janayet ajnanam karma sangina joshayet sarva karmani vidwan yuktaha samacharan. Don't confuse people of the world. You must rather join them, mingle with them, and slowly lift them. So you go to a village and everybody is interested in some basic needs, food, shelter, and clothes, and so on, or some medical care. Then you get down to some service, offer such services. If you yourself cannot do, you engage some bunch of people who are good in that, and you support them in some way. So meet them at their level and then slowly help them rise to higher level. Vivekananda had said, don't preach Vedanta on empty stomachs. That was a much quoted statement by him. So for an empty stomach, we should give food. For materialistic people with a smile on our face, we must express some appreciation of something they have achieved. Somebody comes running to you, I got a gold medal, uncle. You are the uncle, let us say. You should say, oh, is that so? I'm so proud of you. Come sit by me. Show me that gold medal you got. And later on, at the right time, you should show to him the higher possibilities.
Yeah, I come down to my last question, Swamiji. How to practice Mahavakyas in our day-to-day life, as we tend to forget it very often.
So Mahavakyas are the culmination of Vedanta Shastra. Therefore, the practice of Mahavakya involves some 20 minutes daily of Vedanta study. You have Jnana Yoga by Vivekananda, Bhakti Yoga by Vivekananda. Then there are works of many masters. Find out which master inspires you, which master's language goes well with you. Swami Sathya Sai Baba also wrote or gave those wonderful speeches. I think one of them was called Summer Springs or some such. I had once read them and I found them so uplifting. So a 20 minutes per day study is what will bring you closer and closer to higher realization. Feel free to change the book. If some book is a bit too technical, and a little boring, switch over to something which is less technical and more inspiring.
Thank you, Swamiji. I love the question and answers part more than the talk because it practically places us, our mistakes, and it will help us to rectify. And as you were mentioning, Samyak Darshana, it helps us to have that Samyak Darshana. This talk was so nice, so helpful, and more than talk, your blessings and your greetings to all our students is more helpful for us. And we also, on this occasion, we would like to invite you to our campus, either in Kalburgi or Nalakadananahalli or Mudenahalli. We'd love you to have and talk to us physically than this virtual mode. Thank you, Swamiji, for taking a great time to talk to us on Mahavakyas.
I too enjoyed interacting or speaking to all of you. Let us hope to meet face to face sometime soon.
Yes, Swamiji. We will end the session same with Sahana Vatu prayer. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadi Tamastuma Vidvishavai. Om Shanti 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 Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu.